welcome back to Cast Me to Hell with me, Seb.
And me, Robbie.
And as a continuation of our monster movie season, where so far we've hit, last week we hit remake of The Wolfman with Benicio del Toro, not Guillermo doing acting.
Yeah.
And then before that we obviously did the original Wolfman film, and we started our season with The Mummy, both the Lee Cronin reimagining followed by obviously the 1930s Mummy.
Yeah, and now we arrive in 1933, a time of great prosperity, and we look at H.G Wells's The Invisible Man.
Yes,
I haven't read this, but I believe you have.
I have read this. Yes.
Yes.
There are some similarities. The plot, a lot of the plot until near the end or the third act plays out somewhat kind of similarly to that part. But I'd definitely say that obviously it is much darker and it's much less kind of cheesy at times than this film is. I mean, this is a film that I think this was possibly the first monster movie that I'd seen the film of. Kind of thing. So I always enjoyed this film kind of thing, because I think mainly because, I mean, for its time, this has some amazing special effects.
Definitely.
The invisible effects in this film are great, you know. Obviously, we'll discuss those further, and, you know, the performance, and that is, again, the link between The Mummy, the original one we watched, the Universal one, and this one is Mr. Claude Rains, isn't it? There is that link.
And Mr. Claude Rains also in The Wolfman.
Yes.
Yes.
Was he in The Wolf? Oh, yeah, he was in The Wolfman. Yes. Was he in The Mummy, or have I got that wrong?
No, I don't know. I don't think he was in The Mummy.
No, it was a Wolfman. Maybe
I've
I've mixed that up. I thought he was in The Mummy.
Confused
I think I've now mixed them up. Oh well, Mr. Claude Rains was a known figure within the Universal movies anyway, of certain ones. So he is obviously here doing the voice of the Invisible Man here.
Yeah.
Obviously the basic idea within the film. Okay, we have the opening kind of part of the film, which is when a figure first appears out of the snow and goes into a local bar tavern,
which is a great visual.
Yeah,
you know,
that is how the book starts as well.
Okay,
yeah, so going into a local kind of bar tavern.
Yeah, I love the visual of this kind of like figure under this thick coat and hat and these big dark glasses.
Yeah,
kind of like
just the hint of the bandages kind of on the face.
Just kind of fighting his way through this snowstorm to go to this like little pub in the middle of Sussex, and as he kind of goes in, it's quite a lively place, and everybody stops talking.
Yes,
just
everyone stares at him.
Yeah,
and then you get your first of the bar lady and her husband and stuff like that, who are quite cartoonish characters in this film, if I'm honest.
Well, a lot of people are.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, quite a lot of people are, obviously, but they, I'd say, are, like, very, like, our first real, like, kind of slapsticky kind of person. Yeah. Because that was one thing we kind of mentioned talking about it, was that this is quite a slapstick. It's somewhere between the kind of the horror of the Invisible Man mixed with, like, Benny Hill or something like that. It's just missing weird, the music of, like, the do-do-do-do-do-do. Like, it is kind of that. It's kind of got that odd, like, as if there's a little bit of an oddness, as if they thought that there's kind of a humorous side to this kind of man who can go anywhere and do anything, like we were making a second ago. This one decided, yes, we're going to have someone going around and like stealing things or stealing a bike and those kind of situations. To begin with, it gets more evil as it goes along, kind of those things, and like other invisible ones where they use them to either like beat up their wife or rape people. Kevin Bacon.
Yeah, Kevin Bacon.
Not like Hollow Man, just like Kevin Bacon.
Like Kevin Bacon, yeah.
Just made it sound like Kevin Bacon does that to people.
He turns invisible and does that. Yeah, I'm always struck by like the weird elements of comedy in it, because you have the people in the bar who are talking about like, why is he all bandaged up? Why is he all this way? Why is he all that way? And there's that one guy who keeps fucking chirping up, and he's like, oh, he's a criminal, he's gonna rob you. Yeah. And it's almost like every time they're about to fade out of a scene, he makes like a snide comment.
Yeah,
and like looks over his shoulder. It's so weird.
There is so odd about it that I don't think I'd known it in the other version. I knew there was a slight slapsticky part, but I don't think it had run quite as much as it did this time. This time,
No.
it really threw me off. I think because we've watched the other ones, and although they had some elements, maybe at times of a little bit of an odd humour or things like that, not as much as this one, where it felt like it really was like an American studio leaning into British humour of the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
of that kind of humour of the time. And it definitely feels at times where actually I was like, this is going too hard. This is going too much with the odd comedy. This isn't the point where I'd almost say, out of the time, this was a comedy horror film. This was like one of the earliest comedy horrors.
Because it's kind of like there is a horror about the Invisible Man, you know, not being kind of never trusting if you're alone.
I mean, he's an asshole.
He's an asshole.
He's a straight up asshole, like pretty fast. He's like, "You damn woman, give me a room, you bitch."
Yeah, he's like
say bitch,
pretty
right?
much.
It's
Might
pretty much like,
as well. You know? But there is a weird thing where you do think that he's just naked most of the time of this film. You know, he's just running around with his cock out, doing funny stuff. And I don't know whether audiences at the time were laughing.
Just thinking
you
of
know?
like bring back the uninvisible cut.
Yeah,
it's just a naked
Claude
man
Rains,
stood there half the film with like bandages around his face, but the rest of him is just ass naked, just like his dick just hanging out. He's like, "Goddamn woman, get out of my room!"
Or
throwing him out of the room and
windowsill,
stuff like that, or
you know?
like making a train crash,
Just hanging right.
butt naked. Ah!
Yeah, it's a weird. It's a very interesting film. You know, I
Yeah.
think Claude Rains is kind of incredible in it.
Yeah.
But it does kind of descend very quickly. This is one thing that I don't know if you picked up on this film, but all of these Universal films, they seem to move through the passage of time really quickly.
Yeah.
Like you don't. We're talking.
There's no
like,
filler in the way I mean of like modern films where there's kind of like extra subplots.
No.
And things like that. Like, I'm not saying there's not extra subplots in this film, but there's no real like major like
no
filling out
massive bleed.
There's not a great deal of like they don't really do much in terms of character development this time because the film's like an hour and 10 minutes and they're all around an hour and 10 minutes and they're pretty kind of tight into like what that's meant to be. There's lots of bits of conversation about what's happening, but not so much of like developing a character deeper. It's more of like, hey, who did that? And he did that. And what's he done over there? You're like that. Instead of being like, we could spend this time like maybe developing the female character a bit more so she's not just whatever that is. Kind of wooden plank in the corner. But it's those elements that, it feels a little bit more not in these films of that time.
Well, you get the great scene where he's kind of unbandaging a little bit. Yeah. And she brings in some mustard and catches him, and he's like, "Get out! I said to be left alone."
Yes.
And she goes down, and she's like, "Well, you didn't know what he saw. He were all bandages." And then the one girl's like, "I told you he were a criminal." And then it jumps over to
even though he had bandages on when he walked into the bar.
Yeah, it's very odd. And then he has the scene where you find out about like his old boss, this scientist, and Jack left you a note, and I'm not going to go look for him. He was very clear that he'd come back when he's ready. Yeah. And then it's like 10 days later, and he hasn't paid his rent, and they're trying to kick him out.
And then he's got all his scientific, like all of his what a scientist does back then, which is just bottles and
just
machines
alchemy.
and this is my alchemy of my chemicals that I'm making. You cannot throw me out. I'm doing important stuff here. And
I'm putting this.
And it's like,
this.
Well, you ain't done that, and the missus says you got to go, so you got to go. Otherwise, I got to go, and otherwise that's not happening.
Yeah.
So you got to go, or the wife will leave.
Yeah.
She ain't going nowhere. You've got to go. It's like, and then but that's part of the thing of the weirdness of like this kind of. This odd humour, even in the way they're talking, it's got a kind of a humour. It's like you're watching a sitcom, and then you have Claude Rains' character coming over and beating him and throwing him down the stairs, and you're just like, fucking yeah, like this is a complete tonal shift. It's literally like watching like an old British sitcom, but instead in the middle of it you had a guy that just beats people. Like you had an evil, like literally like
it's Phil Mitchell.
Yeah,
like this does in a way.
You
could imagine this was like kind of like Emmerdale. Yeah, it's set on. I think Emmerdale's the one set on a farm, And then there's just some weird stranger who comes in and he's just deranged and just starts beating everyone.
Yeah, it's just this odd guy hanging around. But yeah, there's an odd Britishness for it, but also like an odd stereotypical like a stereotype of certain Brit kind of characters here that feels, which is why I said I feel like it's more of an American doing this stuff, like an American wrote this.
You know, the police officer who was very much like the old school Bobby with like the bullet helmet.
Oh yeah,
hello with his mustache.
Oh. Well, everyone's saying you've done something wrong, so you must have done something wrong. So I'm gonna have to take you down the older Bobby.
I'm gonna have to take you down, Nick.
Yeah, off we go. Well, now it doesn't matter what you say. I'm gonna take you down, kind of thing. Yeah, all right. Did you beat him up? Yes, of course I did, but I don't give a shit about any of you people. Basically, is his tone, and he's just like, well, don't know about that. Didn't really listen, but let's go down the Bobby.
Yeah, and then he's to strips.
Just,
the invisible man.
He's just like, I will get my dick out.
Yeah. But that's how it is. It's basically, he's just like, okay, I'll get my dick out.
But again, when he's like taking off his nose, he's dropping on the floor. I do wonder if anyone out there ever in history edited in the near 100 years since this film was made. Has anyone ever just edited in a naked man into all of these scenes instead?
It is. It's a great film, and I think like it's so iconic with its special effects. And with
it's that bit that pushes the back. Let's be honest. With this film, the thing that makes this film iconic for time is the fact that how they come up with such clever ways of showing off invisible, like at that time, which look so seamless, don't look fake.
Like everything being moved around.
Yeah, the way is when he takes like that scene when he takes off his nose and then takes off his bandit and just takes it all off. Yeah, when he gets that cock out. Yeah, like, but it does just look like holy shit. Like it looks so well done. And even to the point where I'm there, like thinking of special effects that came later that looks worse than the way they make this look in the scene, where it doesn't look like just a weird blur or something like that. Like, I can obviously see how they've done that. There are shots in this, and I'm actually like, how the hell did you pull that off, kind of thing? Because it looks that good. Like the scenes, like again, like I find there are ones that are really odd though with his character, where like this is the thing. It's a really odd tonal shift where you've got scenes that seem like they should be almost more terror. And they are, and he's really angry, but it's either brought down almost by the acting of the over-the-top bar staff or things like that. And then you've got scenes of him doing things that seem like playful fun. Like he's just having playful fun around the town, I'm stealing this, or I'm going to take your bike.
Here's the thing, I don't know whether, and it comes back to what we were talking, and I think every time we've spoken about one of the original monster movies, we've had the conversation around like modern sensibilities and how we view films now. Like at the time, would this have genuinely been terrifying?
I think the special effects alone would have literally terrified people.
Yeah,
but I also feel like it's definitely playing up like a comedy,
because it is like when he goes like he gets his dick out, and then he opens the blinds, the windows, and makes them think they've gone out. And the police officer, what's going on here? Then kind of like bumbles over, and he chokes him.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking, like, it's funny because he stood there like naked, crouching on the windowsill.
If you're thinking of that,
that's what I mean. It just made me laugh. And then he chokes him.
But then what I mean is, but then you've got something like that, like him being choked, which again I believe would have been a real moment of oh shit, like okay, that seems like something of terror in 1933. That seems terrifying, and a man who they can't see is suddenly choking out this officer.
But then the rampage after, where he's like, he's running around. He rides that bike.
Yeah.
And it's just funny. And then he's like, you want your bloody bike? Here you
can
go.
Have your bike. Yeah, nods out.
And then gets like a brush and like whomps somebody on the head with it, says another pun, and then rips off somebody's hat.
You get scenes when he's doing things that seem genuinely like evil, and then there's that, which, I mean, on one side, it gives you a real sense that he is just fucking what he has taken to change his body has made him genuinely just fucking insane.
Yeah.
Like, it does give a kind of chaotic kind of madness to him in a kind of almost jokerish kind of way, that he is just fucking like, he's just almost following impulses and not things. So I kind of enjoy that element of it, but it's still not. It's still very odd of the time to be watching something like that. Like later on when he's literally skipping through with just trousers on, he's skipping through singing like a song, and the woman's like running off generally terrified, and you're like at the same time though he's like singing this like children's song as he skips along, and it's like, this is generally, but like just before this you were doing things of genuine like scaring people and horror. It is a real like whiplash, I feel at times, is the only thing. Like I do think that for modern audiences or people who've never seen this, who might be listening, things like that, it is a real, like, you've almost got to set yourself up for the idea that it is going to not match. And I think, again, because of the special effects, I think actually out of a lot of the monster movies, in some ways I find because of the effects, it draws you in so many scenes because it's used so often, that this one could probably hold certain people's attentions longer than some of the other ones I think that we've done. Because I think there's just a lot in there that's kind of there. But it's still not going to be not jarring, the humour of the time. Is the thing, because you've not only got like the things, I think because the effects stand up so well that bit's okay, and almost his performance is really good, you know, of this kind of manic way. It just, I think it really throws it off. I can't imagine that H.G Wells, who still would have been alive during this time, would have been like, oh, I love that you turned mine into like a 30s sitcom.
Well, apparently he asked for like script like confirmation.
Yeah.
So he sold it to Universal because they had a massive hit with Dracula, and then people suggested doing The Invisible Man as a follow-up, as kind of their next film. So they wanted that to be out in 1931, but instead they went for Frankenstein, and then they eventually did The Invisible Man after. But I think they brought the rights off of H.G Wells for about $10,000.
Yeah.
But he was like, I get to authorise the script first. So he would have read it, and then obviously maybe they put in script writing terms like, you know, Jack Griffin terrorises the locals, and he's like, oh, it's going to be really scary.
Rides a bike.
Takes a man's hat and throws it in the river.
Yeah.
Like throws a stone at a building.
Does the helicopter.
He's always doing the helicopter. You just can't see it.
Just the whole film. You can't see all those shifts.
Yes, yeah.
Those hips are moving.
Those hips are going.
No, yeah, it definitely could have been, because I'd heard things like, because as I said, there is actually, in terms of the way the plot goes, go into the tavern, like kind of stealing from the local residents. They notice this thing. The residents start to notice more things happening in the town. They start to revolt against it. He meets Kemp. You know, he finds Kemp and kind of reveals stuff, and then kind of uses Kemp when Kemp tries to turn him. So all those elements are kind of in the book, except for one element which is in here, which we haven't talked about so far. Apart from, I did mention her in terms of being wooden, which is the female girlfriend subplot that always has to be in these universes.
Always has to be a love interest, even when in the original book there's not one. There wasn't one. It's got nothing to do with the original book. I know that's bit that I did think. The only thing I could find about H.G Wells is that he didn't like that part. He didn't like the girlfriend part of the story because it's kind of a pointless. It is kind of pointless, but it's the thing. It's like,
and therefore that changes the ending of this film because it's you know, it has to involve her.
But it does feel redundant, and she has so little to do, you know.
Well, she's gone for such large amounts of scenes. She's only mainly there to kind of react at certain things, to be like, he's doing this, or oh, he's still there. I mean, you've got all the scenes with the doctor, like the guy who's basically helping her, who talks to her, and he's mainly there just for a bit of exposition at times to kind of talk about what's going on.
Yeah.
But apart from that, it is mainly just she appears every once in a while to kind of react to things. And you don't get the full on until she gets to see it later on. But I'm not gonna lie, I do think out of like all of the ones we've seen so far, and some of them have been things, she is the most redundant kind of female in there for no real reason except they needed a love interest.
Yeah.
For a character that doesn't feel that he should have a love interest.
No, but I guess they're trying to
or
show
that he's that
how
interested
he's
in her at times.
No, he doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I guess they're trying to show that he's changed, you know. But I feel like you can do that in other ways than being like, well, but that's the problem. It's like, it's the 1930s, so they're like, well, he's over the age of 14. He has a woman that he's going to marry.
Yes.
You know, he's not the weird, the weirdo who never gets married and lives alone with his best friend.
I mean, it never fully goes into the oddness of the idea of him being him. I mean, 1933. What exactly are you doing while we're stood in this room? Don't worry about the sound. It's just a bit of a fapping sound. Yeah, it's a noise of a paper fapping in the wind. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, don't worry about that. I'm not anywhere near you.
I'm not doing nothing.
So just sniff my... No, nothing sniffed your hair.
Yeah, don't worry about it, you know.
Watch out for the goo.
Yeah. I just sneezed. I'm crouching down
sneezed
and I sneezed.
I am now sat on this chair, that's why I'm so low.
Yeah, I'm so low. But she doesn't have much to do. I do really like the dynamic between the Invisible Man and Dr. Kemp.
Yeah.
Kemp. I love when he
contempt that he has for Kemp, just constantly treating him like he's an ass. Like
it's so funny.
I'll beat you over the head.
I will beat you.
I'll smack you.
I'll get my dick out. I love when he comes in and he's like, I'm frozen from cold. Let's get a fire on.
Yes.
And he kind of makes him sit there. And then the great scenes with like the log being picked up, the chair being pulled over, the cigarette smoke,
Yeah.
When he lights the cigarette.
Really, like those amazing kind of uses of those effects like come through in a lot of these like little scenes. It's these little movement parts when you're like, the way that they've managed to make that work and make it still look like there's someone moving through the room in an odd way, kind of thing.
I think it was to do with like the negatives or something like that.
Yeah,
I feel like I read that they blacked everything out. I don't know whether they used like some material and then they made them whoever was playing the Invisible Man in the stunt, maybe it was Claude Rains, they made them wear basically like a black jumpsuit, black like bodysuit kind of thing, and then so he didn't really show up on the negatives, and then when they placed it over, it looked as if it was just doing it by itself. I'm sure I read that. And
some of it obviously is like kind of puppetry kind of parts, where it's like some of the items that are by themselves, like the bike and stuff, is not obviously there's no negative. It's just they've wound it, like they've used it in that way, kind of thing.
Just on string,
just being pulled along, basically those kind of things. But they still look really effective. And his race, obviously, when we get to see him there, this is when he kind of reveals himself to be. There's a thing in the original book where he's basically meant to be like an albino kind of where he's like done that and he's done something to kind of change his body, and it's changed into this effect has happened because he was trying to almost change his form and things like that, and he was trying to play with that kind of thing. Obviously we get the reveal in the film that obviously due to his scientific experiment on kind of making these things, I managed to make myself invisible kind of thing. Like, does it mention about the cat? I think there's a thing in the book as well about a cat, kind of in the first person. I think it might be in passing in this film where it says about the first person thing he tested on was a cat. So somewhere out there's the cat that just doesn't know what the fuck's going on. Because it's never. I don't remember in the book it goes like, he's just like, I tested on the cat. What happened to the cat? No idea.
Somewhere out there, I couldn't see it.
Yeah, I couldn't fucking see it. This is part of the problem with this thing. It's like, how did you know it worked? I mean, either it worked or the cat ran away. I'm not really sure.
I don't know.
I could hear a meowing sound. I'm not sure if that's because it was just in another room in the house or because it worked. Yeah. So then I decided that was good enough and I'm going to use it on myself.
Straight to human trial.
Yeah, straight to human trial. Yeah. We've got to go there. No back to formula for us.
No back to formula for us.
I turned a cat invisible. That's what happened. I don't know what happened to that cat. Somewhere there's a cat that's just waiting for food and like, where the fuck is everyone? There's like a new family in the house. They can't see me.
Yeah. So I don't
weird cat subplot.
I don't think they mention it.
Yeah. But yeah, it's got some of those moments, but I think mainly it's when we get, obviously, Kemp is horrified by this kind of state of it, and to kind of move along a little bit, we do get to that point, obviously, when Kemp betrays him. I mean, and who wouldn't? He's treating him literally like, he is treating him like such a dick.
Not only that, but he sits him down and he says he's like smoking a cigarette. I love the look of the Invisible Man as well when he's got like the bandages on, those weird glasses.
Yeah, it is an iconic look.
And he's basically just like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna start killing people And maybe like derailing trains.
I love the way that he throws it out so like that's
so
why
casually.
that's why I said I felt there was almost like a almost odd like jokerishness to it because it's just the way it's just so casually in conversation. Ah yes, I think I could do many amazing things with my invisible ability. You know what I'm going to do? Kill people.
Yeah.
Oh my god, what can you do? You can help people. You can save people from things that they don't know need to be saved, or you can stop robbers. You can become a hero. No, I'm going to kill people.
Kill people instead.
Because I don't know why. I don't really know why. I think trains need to be part of this too. That'll do too.
Yeah. I need to derail a train somehow.
Mayhem is what I'm going for here. But I thought, why did you do this to yourself in the first place? Don't really know anymore.
Can't remember.
That's the general kind of gist you get, is that he's like doing this scientifically, but why? Yeah. I just thought it would be cool to be in. Whereas I think in the original film, there is the whole in the original book, there is the whole thing about like the changing of form and making himself look more and it kind of goes wrong, but then for him he sees that as something great kind of thing. But yeah, even just like generally just like I'm just gonna get all the money I need and I'm just gonna rob stuff. No,
yeah,
I'm gonna kill people. I can kill whoever I want. I can walk down the street just breaking necks.
Yeah, just snapping necks.
Shit coming just like that. There should literally just be a scene of Invisible Man film where he just goes down there and just snap. Crack, just stab people.
So
like,
his neck
I've done it all, just a floating knife in the air, stab, slap, just fuck you all up. But yeah, the real part of horror of Jesus Christ, this man is insane, and there is something generally, I think, terrifying in how kind of just way just throws it out there like it means nothing to him.
Just does it,
and it does show you. It goes from a guy who is mentally and unwell and seems to have weird spikes of anger and all kinds of emotions that seem to throw out of this, and it then turns to like, okay, now he's turning into a full villain kind of thing. He's turning into like a monster now because he just wants to think about death and things like that. And then obviously we get the Kemp, you will be the one that I kill in 10 or whatever it is. I will kill you. So tomorrow night at 10 p.m. I will kill you.
Yeah.
So when I return, but again, it's said in such a blasé way, like he's like, I'm just going out the window. I'm just gonna take off my bandages, let my dick breathe.
Yeah.
and then he's just on the way out of the door. He's like, by the way, Kemp, I'm going to kill you.
Yeah.
At 10 p.m. tomorrow, I will kill you.
I love how
you will be the first one that I kill. You will die first.
I love it. And then we get the scene with the police officer, where they go back to the inn and they find that the police inquiry's under the way. They're convinced it's a hoax, and everybody's just making shit up.
Yeah.
And then he just fucking strangles him.
Yeah.
In front of everyone.
Yeah. Just ends him.
Just do it, mate. Don't worry about
it. So, it's a good scene. It adds on to that thing. And then we do get quite a bit of a lot of back and forth about, right, so what can we do about an invisible man? Kind of thing. There's a lot of scenes of like, we've got like the net and stuff like that where they go back and forth across the room. Even though the whole time I was there like, I mean, right and left side. If I'm the invisible man until you come that slowly at me, it's like, I'm fucking, like, they don't go the whole stretch of the room. It was my only thing there. I was like, I'm slipping around you easily.
Yeah, it's just a net.
I'm literally just there. Like, I'm slipping around you easily.
Yeah.
And also, I can make any of you move because all I need to do is just place my dick in your hand.
Yeah. What's this weighted in my hand?
What's just weighted upon my arm? Like, Jesus Christ.
Feels like a bold mouse.
What is going on?
What is this?
But, so... Yeah, you get lots of those scenes of things. Even though I kept just thinking in my head, and it comes up later, obviously with snow. I just kept being there like, flour, flour. Yeah, just put something on the ground which you can see moving. Like, was my first thought in my head, but I was just like, I feel like putting something on the ground that you can see the marks appear seems very obvious, but it doesn't come to the police officers.
He tells him about the, how like careful he needs to be.
Yeah.
Like he's saying, I need to, you have to brush my feet because I'll bring dirt in, which will show where I am. If I eat, like, I have to wait until it's been fully digested because otherwise
it shows through me.
Yeah, it shows through me, even like dirt under my fingernails.
Yeah.
Like, I have to be really careful, and then just never brings it up.
Yeah.
He's never like, put flour down.
Yeah.
You know?
I have to be really careful, except when I'm like going down the street or riding a bike or
Yeah.
these things are just like that. No, I don't need to worry about
do
those
any
ones.
of that, you know?
Yeah. And there are some of those ones when you're just sat there. I just like the way it's like when they all like, right, tomorrow Kemp is gonna be doing this, so we've got the perfect. This is our only chance. We know who he's after. We know where he's gonna be. We're gonna do this. But just first, let's check the room. All of that. Everyone check around. Get that side. Check, and then by the door, and then okay, all of you on the floor like reception children.
Yeah.
Sit around in a little circle around me as I tell you the plan. Even though you're still there, like, I mean, there's a dude guarding the door, but he could literally just be stood
like
next
this,
to the dude at the door, just stood there like, fuck. What are you like? I am right here. You've got the door open, so why I can't
not good move anyway?
Like you're trying to sell a secret. You've checked the whole room, so you don't tell anyone, and then literally just like they're like. It's like that. It's like that. The old like sketch jokes of like when someone's trying to tell an inappropriate joke and they check around the entire room and then suddenly sit back down. It's like, oh shit, next to me the entire time.
Yeah,
like, it's like that.
Yeah.
It's like it just feels like every time they do so, I kept waiting for scenes to be just like him, just like I'm here.
Yeah, it just should be there. You know, like we're going to tell this super secret plan. Keep the door open just in case.
Like the poltergeist in Scary Movie 2.
Yeah,
when it pops mouth.
yeah,
I'm here.
yeah. Surprised they haven't done that. You know, I mean, in the 30s, they could steer clear.
It is they would steer clear of that. They would have been like literally there, like what you don't all know is I've been here the whole time. My tea bag's been on your head all the time. So then they have this whole like procedure where they've got Kemp and they're wrapped around him with this like the cover again.
Yeah.
Where they've got a cop around each corner so that he's in the middle so nothing could come inside of that area. Well, there was literally like the maddest amount of people that they have in this, what felt like a small town, seems to have the maddest amount of police that are now in on this now. I know the idea is it's been, again, time frame starts to be a bit blurred as how long this has gone on, but they give the idea that this is a whole state of England now that knows about this, so I'm guessing that's why we've got so many policemen that are just lining around the walls, but to the point where they're like, we'll know if he's coming because there'll be dirt off the top. I just love some of the solutions, like there's a high wall over here, so that's the only way you can get through, so if we put some dirt along the top of this wall, we'll know because when that dirt falls off it will happen, and you're just there like, wind? Like there are so many things that are going to lead all of you off the wrong direction, like a cat that goes along the top of it. It's like, shit, okay, they're completely thrown off. And it is those ideas though, some of that again adds into a little bit of that slapsticky feeling of like, and these men would be bumbling cops, because when he basically walks around the cops and he's like, somebody knocked me out. Somebody slapped me in the face or whatever he did. Like someone just grabbed me. Yeah, someone just touched me. Someone's playing with me bits. Yeah. It's there is that kind of odd, again, you're back in that Benny Hill kind of like where it's like you're half expecting the police to start chasing each other around in circles, or we're going to do like a Scooby-Doo where we're like repeating the same place again and again and again kind of thing. Yes. So
well, we get a little montage of the Invisible Man up to his nefarious deeds, you know, where he derails a train, he pushes some people off a cliff, and he pushes a guy down. The train one is quite like, I was quite surprised by the effect of it. I thought it was really quite cool the way they obviously used a small model or something like that, but still the way it explodes and the big explosion, cool. And the amount that he gets to do those like deaths and kills and stuff. So we do get some actual what is a reign of death that he actually brings upon them all. It's the fact that he achieves his plan as well. It's quite like, damn. Even killing Kemp.
Killing Kemp was
hidden in the back
I
seat.
forgot about that he actually killed Kemp. So killing Kemp was pretty, the way he comes behind him, the way he uses him in the car, the way that, Kemp mainly, doesn't put much of a fight. It feels like he could have put more of a fight than he does.
Drive himself off a cliff.
Just at the back of that car, like, oh, okay.
You won't kill me, I'll kill me.
Yeah. He's like, goodbye, Kemp, like, as he goes off. But yeah, like, again, that shot of it going off the cliff and exploding into flames and stuff like that is, you know, some really cool shots. And again, feels like than maybe some of the other ones that we are getting a higher death toll here. Than other monster movies that had given us so far. Again, I'm not counting Frankenstein and Dracula in that. The ones we've done so far.
Yeah.
More than Wolfman, more than The Mummy. I don't know how many get it in Dracula and how many get it in Frankenstein.
I don't think
it's that many either.
It's not a train collision.
I mean, because they're like at least 100 people were killed in that train next to them. I mean, he's like, he's bludgeoned a couple of people. You know, killed Kemp. He's killed them all.
Yeah, he's up to no bloody good. And then I just find like the ferry, the kind of the penultimate act of the film really funny as well, because they send out like the radio broadcast where they're like, earlier today we announced that an invisible man had been causing terror in Sussex. We want to confirm that the invisible man is not a hoax and he is still at large. And there's the people at the dance, you know, who are having a gay old time.
Yeah.
Think nothing better than being in the 30s, being with your best gal, dancing to some Fats Domino. You know, like what more could you want? I think Fats Domino was later, but the point still stands. And then there's the snowstorm, and he kind of goes into a barn, and he just sleeps under some hay. And who should see him?
Yeah,
a farmer.
I found this bit. So this is the like major part that goes away from the original kind of story, which has more of a build up, and it has more of the mass hysteria of the of like a group of villagers and stuff like that that go after him. But it is still more contained to kind of these people, like a mob kind of thing. And in the original one, it's the point where he goes after Kemp, and then actually then they get, instead of getting Kemp, they manage to corner him, and they beat him to death basically in the street.
Fucking beat him to death.
Well, he gets beat, and in the street he turns back into his human form when he dies, kind of thing. So Kemp isn't killed in the same way in here. So they've killed off Kemp in a more brutal way, because he doesn't die in that version. And the Invisible Man story kind of comes to that, and then it's kind of has an epilogue-y part, kind of about how someone has all of the notes of him, and they're kind of trying to work out what it is, and because a lot of those stories of those time are kind of told from that perspective of someone retelling a story. You know, you've got a lot of them where like Dracula and stuff like that, and some are told almost like newspapers and stuff, reports and stuff like that, or diary entries. So it has a bit of that in the original one, whereas here, this whole, I know he's done all of this crazy stuff, and then the fact that he then obviously runs away and then is in the barn and stuff, that he's hiding away, when for the majority of the film he's given no shits about the way that people act towards him, and he's very much like, I'm ahead of all of you. So I know he's on the run, but it didn't quite feel like this character, he suddenly changed his attitude towards it. He doesn't feel like a character who would be like, I'm going to go and sleep in a barn.
Yeah, well, I guess the argument is that he's desperate and he's trying to get out of the snowstorm.
He's trying to get away,
Yeah, but it does feel just a bit like...
He's also a very clever character,
yeah.
So the fact that he doesn't pick up on the fact he's making the marks in the snow...
Yeah.
When he's it's a very cool effect, the snow coming, as we see the steps really moving and stuff. It's really cool in terms of the effects, but I think in terms of the character, I know, and we're also getting the idea that he's technically almost going madder and madder over time, I think, is what we're going to get. So maybe he's not fully functioning fully at this point. He is a bit off of his mind. But I still think it's just a character who throughout the film is shown as quite clever and quite smart with it, not recognising that he's making footprints in the snow going towards them to the point where they can just go, bang. But I'm going to shit, obviously I'm going to and then you just see it tumble to the ground and you see a body kind of print tumble into the ground. But I think it's just a bit of he's caused all of this chaos and this anarchy and stuff like that, and we've built up to this thing. He's killed Kemp, but then the second he's killed Kemp, again, is where they've taken the Kemp death, going away from the book, is the second they kind of went, so what do we do with this now?
Yeah.
Where do we go with this now? you know, is it going to be that we leave the idea that the Invisible Man is still out there in terror kind of thing? You know, do we give us some of that? But instead they go with, we need to stop him and kill him and go back to the girlfriend plot of, he is dying. And when he dies, I feel like with very little scientific any reason why, I believe he will turn back to human form. Do you know that? No? I'm just going to guess. When his body stops, the medicine that goes through his body will die with him, and then he will turn back into human form at the end of this kind of thing. And obviously that's the final shot of the film, when he actually dies. He does something with a girlfriend about I'm sorry and I'm
sorry, Jenny.
And then he offs things, but no one cares about her.
I just thought when he comes out of the barn, because they set it on fire to flush him out, and they shoot him, a guy goes down to check his body, and I was thinking, like, you can't see where you're touching. So he just a cowboy, he just touches his dick, squeezes it, and it's like, okay.
He has a pulse. It's getting stronger.
He has a pulse.
It's getting larger.
It's getting larger. It's getting firmer. I better. I try and find it. I move my arm a little bit.
This episode has led into our male immaturity quite well.
It has. I mean, I guess it's a fun.
But you're right. Like, he doesn't know those kind of parts. I mean, again, this film is true. I think the performance by Claude Rains is excellent. You know, I do feel you get a true maniacal villain here. You get a real, like, a little bit maybe mustache twirly, but it feels like he's truly insane at times. I think it's really good. I think the special effects are incredible for this time. I think it's literally like it's one of the like ones that I would put up there as some of the best horror special effects kind of thing. The way it looks is incredible. But as we've said, it's just so weird tonally. It just throws you off so much. The comedy of it, the characterization of the British characters in many of the scenes, the way they play some of it up in this really kind of carry-on-ish, kind of like weird slapsticky way of, like, one scene he's doing something insane, the next one he's doing something insane, but in a very different kind of fun way, where it's like, which way are we going with this? And it's literally, apart from those scenes when he strangles people or grabs or hits them, you know, if you remove those scenes, you've got like a comedy about an invisible man and it gets up to no good. Like, I'm taking your underwear. Ha ha ha. Like, I'm removing that. It's like, you know what I mean? You can literally see, like I said, Carry On. Like a Carry On. I'm surprised they didn't do Carry On Invisible Man. Or something like that, like Carry On thing, because that's all they did in that film was basically take people's bras and panties and, I've got these, and look, there's Barbara Windsor's tits.
I can see an invisible man taking her towel.
Yeah, off it goes. It's up to no good.
Slapping her ass.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Sneaking into like the local camp to be, hello.
Oh, hello.
Are you all of age of consent?
Yeah, basically, yeah, pretty much. You know, it's the 1930s, so it's fine.
I mean, that was like what, the 1960s, but they were still like, it's okay.
It's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine up until like
they
the
didn't
90s.
do that in this film. In the 1930s, they had class.
Yeah, they did.
By the 1960s, it was out the window.
It was a free for all. Everyone just fucking everyone. You know.
Yeah. But no, it is defined by some of those things that are like both excellent, and then there's also things that are like I'm not so sure. Even back then, I could still imagine some people went from like something like The Mummy or something like Dracula thing, which are a little bit more
straight.
This one I went, it was a bit too funny at times for me, but I again would probably say that at that point in time they were probably just too like, fucking hell, how are they doing that?
Well, yeah, the special effects are just great, you know, and I think like the imagery, the character itself is so iconic. It does feel a bit different, whereas the other two obviously were very British heavy as well.
Yeah.
The Wolfman being set in Wales, The Mummy featuring the kind of British Empire, but they never kind of went into that caricature of kind of British type, you know.
No,
of the time.
The other ones were much less. Like, I at times was like, you're saying it's Britain, but why do I feel like I'm still watching like an American film? At times I can't even think back to those films and be like, were some of them even all British, or were there American characters too? I don't know. Whereas this one is like almost like fully British, but as if they had been like, we're going to make this real British because this is, you know, whatever it is, H.G Wells, things like that. They're going to be like, we're going to make it this way, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I'm not so sure. Yeah, it has that odd kind of weird time to it. If you want to watch it like a comedy, though, maybe you'd enjoy it in its own way. And be like, this is like an old school comedy.
I mean, I think it's a great film. You know, it's definitely an iconic horror film. But like you said, there is stuff in there that does make you think like, there's definitely comedy horror here.
Yeah, I think the way this one looks as well, though, I will say, like that opening shot and things like that.
Yeah.
I think out of the ones we've had with the Mummy and things like that. I mean, there was the Boris Karloff stare and things like that, which was quite an iconic shot and things like that. But I do think that this maybe has like that opening shot of the Invisible Man going to the bar. I think is like an all-time iconic kind of. I think the look of this film at times is really well shot. Like the cinematography of the way it looks and the way the sets look and stuff like that look really good in this film. I do think out of all of them, I like the look of this film the most.
Yeah, 100%.
I think whether because of the tonal thing, whether it's my favourite of the films, I'm not so sure, but I do think that this visually looks like amazing.
I think it's my favourite, you know.
Yeah, I think it probably is too. I think purely because I think just the effects still blow me away. I would like literally. I think it's about the third time I watched this film, and I was still like, fucking hell, like how are they doing that? Like kind of thing. Which is one of those things that even in modern films, I'm just like, CGI. I just assume CGI. But back then, you are literally thinking like this had to be done somewhat practically or effects with like the way they use film and stuff like that. Like you said, like negative things, but it's still like kind of blows you away how good they got it. Like how seamless they've got it in certain scenes. And I mean, some do look obviously like a bit at times like a puppet string moving something along, but most of it I thought looked really effective.
Well, I mean, obviously for next week's episode, we are going to be doing the 2000 and I think it's maybe 2019, 2020 Invisible Man. Have you seen that?
I've not seen that.
I've seen it a couple of times.
Yeah, I've heard you rated it, don't you?
Yeah, I really rate it.
Yeah. Because we're like, as we said, we're talking before about this. It's like basically you're doing it's either Hollow Man or the one that is more the actual reimagining of the Invisible Man in its kind of own way. Not that it's necessarily of the H.G Wells story, but still the idea of still has modernisation of that kind of thing of how they do it. But no, I don't really know a lot about it, even apart from I believe it's got something to do with domestic abuse. In it as part of the kind of grounding of the modern kind of grounding within it kind of thing. But apart from that, I don't really know how it works or how scientifically it's explained or any of that kind of stuff. So I'm excited to watch that one because I haven't seen it yet.
Okay, I'm interested to see what you think.
Yes, we will cover that next week. And is that I was about to say, and then that will be the end of our monster movie season, but we're not. We're also doing one other set after.
We are, which we will keep you in anticipation of. So if you've seen The Invisible Man, come and let us know your thoughts on it. You can find us on Twitter and Instagram at CMDH Podcast. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, leave us a lovely review. We've got plenty of good seasons coming up for you. Play us out, fellas.